Okay, so that's our agenda. So let me just start with what this the idea of TradeStation desktop. So when you know when you start TradeStation with nothing, you end up with a single desktop, and it says unless you give it a name, it'll say untitled on the title bar up here. So what a desktop is if you have more than one screen, then you're going to have a different desktop on each screen. If you have a single screen machine, it's still useful to have multiple desktops for a couple reasons. Now I have 3 desktops going, and down here in my Windows taskbar, I can see each of them and what I've got going on. And if I need to shut one of them down without affecting the other in case I get a lockup or something, I have the ability to do that if I organize things in multiple desktops. Whereas if I have a single desktop and there's a problem, I'm going to have to shut down the whole desktop, everything. So you following that?
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I put you on mute only because I have a bad cough, and I don't want to be coughing every second.
Okay. Um,
If I have a question
all right. All right. I'll keep going then, unless I have some specific input I want from you. So the next thing, once you have a desktop, right, then you can have one or more workspaces in the desktop. You click on New Workspace, and each of them has a tab. Now, I use this concept in setting up what I call the Lexi-Sexy black box systems extensively. So it's important to note, and in our recent emails, that I'm talking about having a desktop with these multiple tab workspaces, and when you use the launcher to do a black box, you're going to end up with very specific kinds of workspaces and tabs.
So Mike, where I got confused, I understand workspaces and desktops from that concept. In the past, when I've tried to save a desktop with opened workspaces and then reopen the desktop, it opens blank. It doesn't open with the workspaces in it.
All right. Well, that happens because TradeStation gives you the option of doing many things. If you go over here to Preferences on Desktop, the first thing you have is what do you want it to do when you start up. Now, you could tell it always open a new one, or open everything from the previous, or let you select what you want to open. And you can also ask it to prompt with this dialog box when you start up. Now, because I do a lot of development, like to start clean, but normally most people want to open everything else. Then similarly, over here, unless you have this checked, you're going to come out blank. So if you have if you have this checked like this, open all workspaces, and you have this checked, when you start TradeStation after a clean shutdown, it's going to come back the way you left it, with all the workspaces open.
All right, but if you close the workspace inside of the desktop,
and then you close down, it'll come back the way it last was.
okay, so you can't necessarily save a desktop with certain workspaces open, and every time it opens, it comes back to that.
Yeah, you can. No, yes, you can. What you can't do is have it remember stuff that you've closed down before the last close.
Yeah,
All right.
I understand the concept.
Okay. So, all right. So that's a separate thing, and we can play around and show you what all the options are. So I'm going to shut this desktop down. Now notice, I could do that from my. That's this one. I can do that by just Xing there, and there's nothing there. All right. So I want to start out and explain what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a black box trading system for trading the Direxion XXX, the leveraged ETFs, and this is a day trading scalping system that takes advantage of market volatility and no direction in a period of chaos like we have now. And I broke it out in 2008 to when I had nothing else to trade. There was nothing else to trade. There's no direction. You couldn't do any stock picking because all the fundamentals and everything, all the technicals, were broken because of such a crash. So what are you going to do? So I've picked out 8 pairs of relatively liquid. These are, some of these trade enormous amounts, like FAS. Okay, and this is this chart is linked to right now just for analysis purposes. But I'll show you. You can see that we have Keith. Yeah, it looks like Keith chimed in. I have this set up with an analysis, what I call an analysis chart that has a link so I can click on these and look at them. Now this is the template I'm using, and it has 2 Lexis, Smart LXI, 3 profit targets, and an end of day exit. So to see what that looks like and what that means, let's look at Treasury bonds long over the past few days and see how this thing trades yesterday and how it's supposed to trade it. So let's look at the 8th, that was on Monday. Alright, so I have 2 Lexis. Keith, you there? I have 2 Lexis, and they're set very simply. The first one buys $10,000 worth on a 5-minute OR breakout and nothing else, except we do have the template symbol set here, which I'll explain go over it again in a second. So this is a simple no confirm OR breakout. Buy it if you break above the 5-minute OR. The second one is entry mode 1. That's a breakdown failure for the same amount of shares on the same OR size, and also I have high bars to clear. So in order to get in on a breakdown failure, I need to have 3 bars higher than the last in order to get in. And
Breakdown failure, you're talking about an OR reversal?
yes. So here is if we close in on this, right? We have our OR low and our OR high off of this bar. Keith?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Keith. Rick is on with me. I invited Keith because Keith has a version of Launcher. He's an alpha user. You're the beta user, and he's got the most. This is about the simplest one you're going to see. He's got the most complicated one, and I just wanted him to check in real quick because we're all trying to accomplish the same thing here, which is right. This when the fundamentals break down and you've got a break from the past, all you got going for you is technicals. This is what happened in 2008. But the thing is, when the market is moving like this, if you stay frosty, you can make some money. But I just wanted to go through the details of this strategy, Keith. I know you may have to check out to trade yourself, but just hang in there for 1 minute. I just want to.
I just wanted to finish, because I do want to try to set up a plan for this morning. Right now, the market, Nasdaq is down 2 points.
All right. So this strategy enters 2 ways: on an OR breakdown or an OR breakout. Here you see we got in on this one on both. We had an OR breakout and a 3 bar OR breakdown failure. So the green line here is the OR high, the red line here is the OR low. We got in on the OR breakout. Once you get in, okay, then we have this very interesting symmetrical system. Okay, we've got 3 profit targets, one at 2% above your entry price, the second at 4%, and the third at 6%, and each of them take 25% off. So if you hit all 3 targets, you're left with 25% of your position as a runner. Okay, now you set your initial stop at 2% below your entry. Not ATRs, this is a special thing. We're going to see what ATRs do. You can set your, then when you hit your first target at 2%, your stop moves to break even. That's yellow. When you hit your second target, your stop moves to your first target. And after that, it's got the stop stays there at your first target. In this particular strategy, we could put other stops in there, but right now this seems to work well.